Hello and welcome to the Peters Podcast, where today we are going to talk about the military. A lot of people I've talked to so far have been up and down with the idea of having a military force, and I want to explain why it is necessary, but to a degree. So, let me just go get my water, which I forgot, which I am so dumb for. It's one of those outtakes that I should be editing out, but I'm not, because I wanted this thing to be unedited. So here we go. Okay, so like we always do, I've compiled some stuff that has to do with the military, and because I'm in Canada, I will do the Canadian side of the military, although I'm very knowledgeable of the American side, more knowledgeable than, say, other Canadians. So, I can't wait for someone to fucking remix all these. I'm gonna be like Minecraft joke. Enter now. A military, also known as a collective, as an armed forces, is a heavily armed, highly organized, primarily intended for warfare. It is typically authorized and maintained by a sovereign state, with its members identifiable by distinct military uniform. It may consist of one or more military branches, such as Army, Navy, Air Force, Space Force, Marines, and Coast Guard. The main task of the military is usually defined as defense of the state and its interests against external armed threats. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and say this. Army, I'm actually going to go through them one by one. And I'm going to give the clear definition of what I've come across them as. So, Army, ground force or land force, fighting force that fights primarily on land. In the broadest sense, it is the land-based military branch, service branch, or armed service of a nation. So, most of what you see on documentaries of like people going out into war, heavy fire and stuff, that's the army. And they're usually nowadays, like, they're depicted as like your typical gym bro, your typical like, oh yeah man, like I totally drink like all the time. And really, they're just sad and need a hug. Yeah. So, we got something like that too in the Canadian Armed Forces. The Quebecois. I wish the Quebecois would fight as our army. We'd have less Quebecois. But yeah, Canadian Armed Forces are the unified military forces of Canada, including sea, land, and air. That is typically a lie. Okay, so I was wrong. So what we have here is the Canadian Army. The Canadian Army is a command response for the operational readiness of the conventional ground forces of the Canadian Armed Forces. As 2022, the Canadian Army has 23,000 regular soldiers, 19,000 reserved, including a 5.3K members as Canadian Rangers. I'm assuming that the Canadian Rangers are pretty much our, they're pretty much our Coast Guard. Canadian Rangers reporting for duty. Canadian Armed Forces, a reserve that provide limited military presence. Yep. Well, yeah, they're niche element. So they are our Coast Guard. They are our little buddy, our little friend. Navy. These guys are the sea or the water experts, essentially. They're the ones that go out and basically the Navy is one of the oldest branches besides Army, mainly because Navy or naval was a thing for Greek settlements and Viking settlements to go from one place to another because there would be a stretch of land or land that they want to get to, and they'd have to go by ship to go get it. So that's them. And our Canadian Navy, 12 defense vessels. That doesn't sound good. This is just what Wikipedia is saying, too. Yeah, so the Naval Force of Canada, the RCN, is one of the 3 environmental commands within Canadian Armed Forces. We have a bunch of ships and stuff. I don't know what to say about these guys. I mean, what is there to say that history doesn't already say? They are one of the ones that were quite important as far as going to different lands and giving kind of a backup element. Especially with the Vikings. Vikings would, wait until there was a good wind, and then they'd go into England, and they would attack with their forces, and they'd make sure that they brought like a couple dozen ships. So nowadays that the rest of the military branches think that they're a little bit on the fruitier side of things. So Air Force. Air Force is the sky. It's pretty much the sky. You get to fly around in a fucking jet plane and shoot some people down and la da 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 da, and I'm gonna do Space Force next, and then I'm gonna tell you about the Canadian Air Force, because this is gonna be fun. So, the Space Force is the newest branch. And each individual Space Force looks like it came in fucking Star Trek. Every symbol for Space Force looks like it came out of Star Trek. But yeah, they're just the operatives for looking into space, making sure that we're safe. I'm hoping for like space rocks, like Armageddon. These two branches that make me laugh so much because they're it's quite ridiculous to be honest. But I mean, to each their own, right? The thing that makes me laugh the most is that instead of putting a new branch into our military section in Canada, we decided to merge the Air Force with the Space Force. I don't know what we're doing anymore as Canadians. But my uncle was in the. I should probably also say that I have family who went into the military, such as my uncle, who was in the Air Force. It was the smartest thing he ever did because he is a very intelligent man. Essentially, when you go into the Air Force, and this is the shtick. I don't know if this is true. I hope it is. And I kind of want to go into the Air Force because of this. But you get set up with hotels. Anytime you're out in the field, it's danger pay. You get danger pay no matter what. They are the kind of military section where you can constantly, the more and more that you get things to do, and the more pay you get. And I like that. I wish all of them were like that. And that way I could go and join and do whatever. But this is, I find this quite comical. That that they have this kind of thing. See, and the Air Force, they don't even know when they're founded. Oh no, there's different sections. Okay. Okay, man. Sure, why not? And those two, that's, I guess Air Force is known as the nerdy people who, just do what they do, and they just want to get paid, just like everybody else. I don't know. The shtick is that they're nerds. Space Force, potatoes are their best friends. I don't know. And before we get to the good one, which is Marines, let's go to Coast Guard. Coast Guard is your typical security. It's like military light. Oh, hey, yeah, no, it's okay. Let's not fight, guys. Let's not fight. This is how they're portrayed. Do you want to do the push-ups now or later? Now? No? Okay. I don't fucking know. Yeah, Coast Guard. They just kind of hang around the coasts. Cool. Submarines. They're Marines or naval infantry, typically military force trained to operate littoral zones, littoral zones, in support of naval operations. Historically, tasks undertaken by Marines have included helping maintain discipline and order aboard the ship, reflecting the pressed nature of the ship's company and the risk of mutiny. Marines have also been known as the fucking badasses that take people out. They're apparently the brainless brutes that just chew on crayons. They're like the oldest out of everyone. And yeah. So essentially why I did this video is because I saw a bunch of your narrator, and I think his name is, I want to get his name right, because if he sees this video for whatever god awful reason that he actually sees one of my videos, I can say his name right. I hate the loading speed on my laptop. Yeah, I have a laptop. It's pretty cringe. Yeah, Nico Ortiz. Nico Ortiz. Nico Ortiz. I saw him on TikTok, and I thought he was the funniest fucking guy in the world, because it was like military stuff, essentially. And then I've heard your narrator's, or narrator, as he's also known, because he's got 2 fucking accounts. How he balances that out, I will never understand. But he's a Marine? I'm not even gonna look it up. Fuck it. So, they were in the Army, and I thought to myself, you know what? I've heard so much about like Army and Army stuff, and like it was to the point where my parents would like make me, well, my mom especially would make me make the bed so straight you could bounce a quarter off of it and do a flip. And it honestly, it doesn't faze me. Like, maybe the idea of having to serve your country, and yes, sometimes I think going out to another country for a pointless war is not necessary, but at the same time, we still need our military in case something happens here. So, pulling troops would be nice, but we don't need to necessarily have them go out, have them on guard. But having them out is a completely different situation, in which that I personally don't think is amicable. I don't think it's necessary to have them out. Do I feel that I should go out to war? No. Absolutely not. Am I a bit of a hypocrite for that? Yes, I am. Would I go to war? Yes. if someone's threatening our country, I would love to. I would absolutely love to, in the sense that I know what is happening. I'm not gonna just go out to war willy nilly. I want to defend the country as much as I can, but I'm not going to do it to a point of oh, here's a gun, go out into Afghanistan. Just mix the country's names, and fight. Well, why? Why am I fighting? Because I will agree that sometimes it's all for oil money, but at the same time, if it's an allied country, then I can understand going out. I don't think that it is wrong to say that I would want to defend the country as much as possible. However, there are only limitations I can do. Of course, there is years and years and years of training. How long that is, I'm not sure. This fucking computer. 10 weeks. 10 weeks, really? I'm a buffed up fucking a buffed up soldier. Oh, that's just basic training. Oh. How long is basic training? How often do I pay to fucking forget the pay? Free food. Free food, homie. Yeah. So, I think a lot of people take things for granted, and I think that we should actually implement some of it. You know, have a structure, kind of like a private school when it comes to kids. So give them structure, but at the same time, give them something fun. During PE, of course, give them activities, but like, make them do like a shit ton of running. There's too many fucking fat kids. Too many people who, I believe, are morbidly obese that need this training. So, but some of those girls come out like fucking dummy thick, and I wouldn't, but maybe not right now. But regardless, I don't see a point in saying that the military is bad or good or what. I just think that there are some good points about it, such as defending our country. However, I think that there are bad points about it, like blindly going out into somewhere you don't really, you never really needed to be there. You're just there. So I was an anarchist at one time, so I did believe in bring the troops home, but I mean that changes. Your points of view changes, and the more and more that I'm getting older, the more and more that I'm just like, okay, like, yeah, they're needed. Okay, cool. Maybe I'll get so annoyed that I'll be like, all right, fine, they're fucking needed. Leave me alone. But yeah, that's kind of my point of view on it. I didn't really have much to say. I was hoping for more points on the military, but unfortunately, like this is it. One's for the land, one for the sea, one for the sky, one's for the space. I don't know what else to say about it, except for like, you know, Space Force is weird. It's a weird concept that we just came up with, and honestly, Coast Guard is a bunch of pansies. Come at me, fam. I don't give a fuck. I'll slap the shit out of your fucking rubber ducky. But yeah, I think that's it. Like, share, and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. You know, all those YouTuber cliches. Don't forget to go to the link in the description below for some Beard Struggle products. And you have yourself a wonderful day. Okay, bye-bye.